I'm Andy, this is Real Life Reviews, and in this video we're taking a look at the New Balance FuelCell SC for Super Comp Elite version 4, the fourth iteration of this top-end running shoe from New Balance. Right from the off, I'm going to say that initially when I wore this shoe I was a little underwhelmed. I'm going to explain what I mean by that later, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the shoe has certainly grown on me with its, what I tend to refer to as non-flamboyant but actually quite remarkable performance. As I say, I'll delve a little bit deeper into that and why I use those words in a couple of minutes. I've worn this shoe now and it is now racked up over 100k. So I've made a real effort to wear it on quick 5-6 Ks, trying to punchy off the toe, try to get that response. I've worn it on fair few tempo and threshold 9 to 14k runs, and just last week I wore it on a 25k run. So I've hit it on all the distances. I've hit endurance pace, tempo, threshold, and I've done sessions where I've been doing tempo into anaerobic, into tempo, into anaerobic, into recovery, etc, etc. So I've tried to hit it from all angles. Yeah, so let's get on with the shoe itself. So New Balance call this, and I quote, white with bleached lime glow and hot mango. Well, yeah, it looks quite nice. It does look quite nice, but it does pick up and hold the dirt, and it doesn't matter how you scrub it, it gets dirty quickly. So yeah, shiny new shoe, but it shows the colour. And to be fair, the version 3 did as well, albeit I've got the yellow and the toe part there did the same thing and it held the dirt. But just looking at it, I quite like the colours, to be fair, and a real difference in the shaping. If you can see, it's got these angled, slabby, geometric-y type lines in it and faces, which remind me of Crichton. Those of you who are old enough might remember Red Dwarf, the robot from Red Dwarf. Crichton? Yeah, make up your own mind. Let's get the numbers out of the way. Well, stack, heel 40 millimeters, toe 36 millimeters, which gives us a drop of 4 millimeters. So that's pretty par for the course. Turning to the weight of this shoe, let's put him onto the Real Life Review scales, and we have 225 grams. If I take that off and put the version 3 on, there we go, 218 grams, irrespective of 17 or 18. That's quite a hike up, and this shoe, the version 4, is relatively, I know it sounds harsh when a shoe's this light compared to what running shoes used to be, but it's a relatively heavy shoe for one of these super shoes. Construction, well, the upper is a little bit thinner than the version 3, and it's probably a little bit rougher to touch. It doesn't stretch, but New Balance say it's more breathable, and we've started to get 1 or 2 warm days. Certainly when I did my 25k, that was a warm day, and I've had no problem in that sphere of breathability. The booty construction has gone. What do I mean by that? Well, the 3 had this sort of sock liner element to it. Some people didn't like it. I didn't mind it. Yeah, I quite liked it. So Is it good or bad the sock line has gone? Well, I suspect from New Balance's point of view, it's good. I think they had a few adverse comments, but as I say, I didn't mind. We've gone to a tongue. So the tongue is back. It's not gusseted. So I can pull the tongue open like that, and you'll see it's not got those sort of lined gusset points that hold it in and keep it tight. Now, I don't mind that. I've heard one or two people complain about this. It's almost a plus for me. It's not a trail shoe. It's not going to be run on Marathon des Sables and you're wanting to stop sand getting in. I'm likely to be wanting to run this in a half or full Ironman. Now, bear with me, and this is personal choice, but when I'm changing in T2 into my shoes, the ability to set my shoe up like that, and yes, I know if I was doing a speedy transition, I'd have elastic laces and I'd just be, but no, I want to be able to sit down, be calm, but not struggle to get my foot in the shoe. I just want to take a deep breath, maybe put a gel in my mouth and suck that on whilst I'm getting my foot in the shoe. And the ability to open up really wide, get my feet in, do it up, I see that as an advantage. So yeah, I'm actually quite pleased it's not gusseted, and that's a huge plus for me. Staying on top of the shoe for a moment, if we come along the eyelets, you'll see a welcome return to, just move that lace out the way, to having two eyelets round the heel. Now, lockdown I think is excellent in this shoe. Trail running, I always tie a heel lockdown. I've kind of trained myself not to do that on my road running, simply because I don't have time to do it really in transition in a triathlon. So the fact that we've got the two is great, is going to assist your heel lockdown, but you'll notice that I've got my laces in the more open of the options, and I don't have a problem with heel lockdown. So yeah, heel lockdown is great. But whilst I mention laces, they're actually quite thin and quite slippy, and you're going to want to double tie these or change them. Yeah, I don't think the laces, they're not to my style. Now to the sole, which ultimately is the crux of this shoe. And I mentioned earlier that I was slightly underwhelmed by the shoe when I first put it on and I went out for a sort of 12K tempo type run. And why was I underwhelmed? It just didn't come straight out with that spring that you kind of have come to sort of expect from a shoe, you know, super shoe as we tend to refer to them. So it didn't feel faster than the version 3. However, your feet sink less into what's now 100% PIBA fuel cell midsole. The midsole void underneath is shorter and doesn't extend into the forefoot like it does on the V3. Therefore, you have less of that sort of super shoe bouncy sensation, which I think psychologically those of us that have been using these shoes have become used to and expect, and we kind of relate that to speed. Now, when I looked at my Strava files and my Garmin files, this was producing times that were as quick and a tiny bit quicker. Now, there's all sorts of reasons why that might be, from a personal, physical, weather, name it. But when I looked at it a bit more and then concentrated on what I was doing in the running, what it is kind of encouraging is a faster turnover. And that possibly is where this comes from. Would I hugely ditch the version 3 that still got maybe 100 plus K in it for this? No, I'm going to keep using it, and I'm going to definitely use this. Is it an improvement? Yes, I think it is. But what I'm trying to say is it's not the disappointment that the kind of underwhelming start gave. It's actually a really, really nice shoe. And the data has shown me that is the case. So the carbon plate itself in there, and once again, there it is, visible. Yeah, energy arc. The carbon plate is thinner. Now, that has sort of a plus side and a minus side to it. So the plus side is it's good for smoothness. However, if you want that explosive sort of feel that propels you forwards, I just think it's lacking a little bit. So and the rocker is really well balanced, and I think it's great for sort of midsole strikers, even heel strikers. The heel to toe progression is really smooth, and for me, that's what I like. It doesn't have that real snap that some of the more aggressive super shoes have, but for me, this is a great Ironman, half Ironman shoe. It's not going to give you that PB in 5k or 10k, not compared to other shoes. So yeah, it's a distance shoe. It's, for me, it's a marathon shoe, it's an Ironman shoe. When I say it's a marathon shoe, it's a marathon shoe at my pace. I think if you were going quick, if you wanted a 3 hour, even a 3:30, 3:45, I think you're probably going to want something a bit snappier. But for somebody like myself, the final leg of an Ironman, and is getting that midsole strike and possibly a bit of heel strike, tired, but you want something that's just gonna, it's great comfort, it's got the response, the rocker is right, it's great for that. So that's my personal niche for this shoe. Turning to the bottom, well, outside durability, I think has gone up enormously. You can see, just get my pen, you can see we've got cover all the way on the fore, and we've got cover on the heel. And the big plus of the heel, and I'll try and show this to you, is that, especially if you're striking near here, is that the cover is very much on top of the PEBA foam, the midsole. And let me, if I get the version 3 and take that up to you, first of all, at the forefoot, you'll see there's much less cover. And at the heel, again, there's a slightly less cover. But what you might be able to see here is that the actual sole, the protection, does not protrude out. I'll bring back the 4 for you just to have a look at that, and hopefully you can see it on camera. And consequently, if you can get a good look around the heel, then the sole, the foam, has worn and been affected on running. So yeah, the sole, huge improvement. And the grip, typical England, coming through into spring, we've had some horrible wet days as well as some nice dry days. The grip of this has been absolutely superb. I've not had a problem with it at all. The New Balance FuelCell SC Elite version 4. Slightly heavier than version 3, but with a lighter, more breathable mesh upper. It's now got a full tongue instead of a sock. It's got a lighter, thinner carbon plate in it. It's 100% PEBA foam. It's a great shoe for mid-strike. It's got wonderful heel to toe transition. And for me, it's an ideal shoe, and will be an ideal shoe for many of you for that sort of half iron, Ironman, half marathon, full marathon race shoe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like, give it that thumbs up and share with your friends. We have some affiliate links in the description down below. Please do use those, that helps us enormously. And similarly, if you haven't subscribed, well, please do so. Again, that helps us with YouTube's algorithms. Click on the round picture down there to subscribe, and a few other shoes to look at. We've got the version 3 of this shoe, we've got Hoka's Rocket X2, and we've got the Hoka Aura recovery shoe. Thanks again for watching.